Hello, and welcome to all my beautiful, vibrant souls who have their North Node in Leo. Hello, and welcome to any cross watchers who might know somebody with their North Node in Leo. I'm super excited to get into this reading today. If you hear like little crackly sounds, I just have seltzer next to me. Sorry. Similarly, it might make me burp. I'm sorry. This is where we are. We're all about authenticity here. So this is me. Hello, how are you? Welcome to my corner of the internet. I'm actually gonna take a sip of this seltzer right now. Oh God, it's so good. Okay. Excuse me, and there's the burp. Oh my God, I'm sorry guys. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, hello, welcome. I'm super excited to get into this reading today. I'm going to be explaining a bit about this placement and then getting into your oracle cards and pulling tarot. I do want to kind of mention this with a couple of major caveats. So this is talking about the placement of North Node in Leo, just kind of like in and of itself. But keep in mind that this is going to be heavily impacted based on what house your North Node is in, as well as how it is aspected with the other planetary energies in your chart. Excuse my burp, I'm sorry. This seltzer may not have been as great of an idea as I had hoped it was, but that's okay, we've committed. Excuse me. So just keep that in mind. If you are interested in this reading for yourself, I don't currently have it up in my shop as like a standard fixture, but you are welcome to DM me. I do custom readings, and if I get enough custom order requests or comments on these videos, I will add it as a permanent fixture in my shop. Keep in mind as well that with your North Node, I call it your North Node journey, because this is really, this is the energy you're being encouraged to move toward in this lifetime. And this is, why it's one of those placements that can talk about destiny, life purpose, etc. So keep in mind that this is, a lifelong journey. Moving toward your North Node is a lifelong journey. Excuse me. And so the messages in this reading are meant for where you are in this journey. This is a timeless reading, so whenever you find it, these messages are meant for you, right, at this time in your North Node journey. Excuse me, sorry guys, my allergies, my asthma are awful. Okay, there we go, I think I got it. So yeah, that's just something to kind of keep in mind. So whenever you're finding this, let's say, like whenever this is finding you, the messages that you would need to receive, a year from that point, 3 years from that point might look different than the messages that you're coming across right now. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's see, where do we begin here? Sorry if you can hear my knuckles crack, I don't have a good excuse. So something that's important to kind of keep in mind is that equally important to your North Node is your South Node. And the reason why they're equally important is because they build off of each other. So your North and South Node are always going to be opposites from each other on the wheel of the zodiac, because all North and South Nodes are opposites from one another. And the reason why this is important, and just as a side note, I've also done a South Node series if you're interested in checking that out for further information. But, your South Node is thought to be an energy that you've already mastered. This is why it's kind of considered like a past life placement. Sorry, guys, I was rubbing my eye. My goodness, I'm just like all over the place. But this is why it's thought to be like a South Node, or excuse me, a past life placement. But regardless of whether it's past life energy or not, your South Node represents an energy that you have already mastered. You've got this shit down pat, right? Pardon my sniffles. And this is something that is an energy you're very comfortable with, something that you default to, something that you know how to do. And not only do you default to it because you've mastered the energy, so it's just like it's kind of an old hat to you, but it's also something that in the past life coming through, embodied by, characterized by your South Node, right? Because we can have multiple past lives. Your South Node might be speaking to one life in particular. Excuse me. And your South Node doesn't have to refer to just like one of your past lives in particular. The skills cultivated, those South Node skills may have been cultivated over multiple lifetimes, but it's talking about one aspect of your past lives or past life. But you've mastered those skill sets. And so not only do you tend to can you default to this energy because you've already mastered it, but it's because in a past life, in the past life that's coming through, those skills really served you, right? They were something that you cultivated, and then it had rewards attached to it. It had benefits attached to it. And this is why, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, pretty much. And this is why we can kind of default to our South Node energy a lot in this lifetime. Until, dun, dun, dun. You can tell you guys have South Node in Aquarius because I'm being extra eccentric today. But until, excuse me, I'm sorry. Sorry about that, guys. Until it's time for you to really start taking active, larger steps toward your North Node. Now, the way that you'll know that this is, happening is that you'll start to get burnt out on your South Node energy, right? Because your North Node's always opposite on the wheel of the zodiac. And the goal is to move toward your North Node energy, to embrace and embody that energy in order to, kind of equilibrate and seek balance at a soul level. So you'll notice that you're being encouraged to move more toward your North Node when your South Node no longer really serves you. And this can look a lot of different ways. This can manifest a lot of different ways, I guess, is what I was trying to say. And if you guys are interested, I can do a whole separate video about how your South Node's kind of not working for you anymore, but just a really broad strokes overview. This is where it's not serving you in some way, shape, or form. So you're getting really burnt out doing the same thing that you used to do. You might find that those strategies are less effective for you. You might find that they cause you to essentially engage more in shadow energy than they do in the light. You might find that engaging in your South Node energy when it's time to start moving more toward your North Node creates a lot of messes for you, or you just end up hitting a wall more often, right? Excuse me. Yeah, so this is kind of these are some of the signs, and this is essentially the universe's way of giving you hey, 5-minute warning kind of energy here, where you're being encouraged to take active steps toward that North Node. And the thing that can be kind of awkward about it is, like I said, all North and South Nodes are oppositional from one another on the wheel of the zodiac. All oppositional signs, all sister signs, share some type of common shadow element. It's not really shadow element. There's a problem, right, that they're trying to solve, and each axis in the wheel of the zodiac is trying to address a part of life or an issue. And the oppositional signs start at opposite ends of the spectrum trying to solve the same problem. And the goal is to borrow from one another and, again, equilibrate, meet in the middle. So you have a balanced, blended, holistic perspective for how to deal with the issues of life that fall under that umbrella. So with the Aquarius Leo axis, this is all about being being part of a collective, essentially. This is also about learning how to cultivate, how do I want to say this? How to cultivate, it's how to cultivate love both for self and for the collective, but also in a very attached versus detached kind of way. So Aquarian energy, excuse me, for example, is all about communal living. It's about this universal love for all, but it's not really, this is why Aquarius is known for being kind of detached, is it's not really as much aimed at one particular person, whereas Leo energy can be, it's very heart-centered, very loving, very generous, very giving, but it's more of a leadership energy. So instead of being part of the collective, it's standing out as a leader, and B, it can tend to focus its love a little bit more on specific people, right, and get a little bit attached in that regard. And again, there's just a matter of balancing between the two. Another kind of thing that this axis can kind of talk about is self-perception a little bit, and a healthy sense of ego, right? So part of being human means having an ego, which we cannot entirely eradicate, but learning how to keep that in check and in balance and see ourselves as part of the collective, as part of the whole, versus versus being so detached that you struggle to really like find a place, right? You struggle to really like be a part of a group and see yourself as a valued member of that group. And again, it's just about learning how to kind of borrow from both sides of the equation in order to address these issues in a really healthy, balanced, blended way. Excuse me. I will say something I want to kind of comment on. I'm struggling a little bit to, oh, that's a cute fat squirrel out my window. I'm struggling a little bit to find the words to fully articulate this. So I kind of feel like the squirrel is like 2 steps away from invading my personal space. I love it. Oh, there he is. He's climbing the tree right outside my window. He's sitting there. He's just looking. He's looking right at me, you guys. Hi, buddy. Oh my God, he's so cute. Oh my God, why are animals so cute? Okay, I'm done. But yeah, so there's just like, I'm having a hard time articulating this. So what we're talking about right now might be something where you're kind of aware of it, but you're still sort of sorting it all out and kind of teasing out what these things mean to you. So I'm mostly commenting on that, so hopefully it will go away, because normally I am loquacious to a fault, but I have a little more continuity, so I'm just like struggling to get my footing. Excuse me. So what does South Node in Aquarius, North Node in Leo really mean or really look like? This can manifest in a number of different ways, and it will, again, largely depending on the houses that they're in and how they're aspected. So this is very personal to your personal astrology, but just something that I'm kind of picking up for this particular group. So first of all, you know, South Node in Aquarius, meaning you've mastered this energy. This is like I said, communal living. This is also kind of a truth seeker energy. And it's like, it's a little bit more low key. It's not quite as much like a seeker, like a Sagittarian energy. Like, let me get out there, let me do this, let me do that. This is like, I'm kind of like getting like quiet observer kind of energy. Like, but this is, well, hang on, let me back up. Back up, Vanessa. I have too much to say about this. And this is kind of like what this can talk about. This is also, South Node in Aquarius is generally for folks who are very, very comfortable with who they are, right? You're not afraid to do your own thing. You're not afraid to do things that are outside of the mainstream. I feel like this is also a placement where there's this kind of inherent trust that the universe is going to bring you out to where you need to be, but especially to the people you need to work with. The people you need to do like spiritual work with, right? You guys inherently understand that. And so as a result, this is something where a really solid strength that you have may also sometimes kind of devolve into a weakness, in the sense that I feel like you guys don't hold on to anything, especially when it comes to people. Like you're very comfortable drifting from like, maybe you get like really into like spending a couple years with one friend group or with one particular friend, and then you move on, whether that's literally like you move locations a lot, or excuse me, if that's more figurative, where you guys kind of drift apart. And it's because you guys inherently, intuitively understand that energy is fluid, that life is always moving, and so you guys don't really try to hold on to a lot, which is a beautiful gift, right? I feel like you guys flow pretty well with the changes, especially because Aquarius is a fixed sign. But out of all the fixed signs, Aquarius kind of has the most sort of mutable energy, in my opinion. And like, this is where I feel like you guys are very comfortable with, okay, you know, I was doing this for a while, and now I'm kind of, there's like this energy of like, my energy is changing, or my focus is changing. So why wouldn't the rest of the world around me, why wouldn't the rest of my life change as a reflection of that? I hope that makes sense. I also feel like you guys are very, very good at working in a group, very, very good at figuring out your place in a group. Sorry, there's a plane flying overhead, and I'm like, they're not usually that low. You guys also might have no problem connecting with, I was gonna say people, but I'm hearing projects that are like really different than the culture in which you grew up. So this could be where, again, you're traveling a lot, or you're working with people from around the world. There's a, you know, huge focus on doing things online. You might have a really like, this might be a situation where you have a thriving online, you know, community or like group of friends, but you might not have that as much in real life. Again, very nomadic energy here as well. And these are things that you've kind of already mastered, right? These are things that you have a really good handle on. You might be really comfortable with, you know, kind of Aquarian age concepts. You might be very comfortable as we're moving into this new kind of wave of understanding that we're cultivating right now. This new consciousness, we're moving out of Piscean era, like dogmatic kind of, I guess I'll say dogmatic social structure for lack of a better term. And I feel like this is something where, especially the farther we get into, and we're kind of just starting the Aquarian age, but it's like the farther you get into this life journey and the more we kind of start to get into that Aquarian age consciousness, the more and more comfortable you may start to become in your life, right? The more comfortable you might become in, like, I hope this makes sense. I'm struggling to find the right words, but it's like the more comfortable you may become because you're already sort of embodying the energy that's sort of starting to, manifest. There we go. It's starting to manifest collectively. However, excuse me, North Node in Leo can mean several things. One of which is that this might be the universe really encouraging you. Again, you're very comfortable with Aquarian age concepts and consciousness, and as we're welcoming that in, this might be the universe encouraging you to take up a leadership role, right? Particularly when it comes to, because Leo is rules the heart chakra, particularly when it comes to how we relate to other people, right? That universal love consciousness. But another thing I'm kind of getting here, sorry guys, my asthma is just awful. Another thing I'm kind of getting here, and this was the big thing I was getting for this group, is I feel like one of the things that you're going to be encouraged through your North Node journey to do, especially at this point whenever you're finding these messages, is to, I don't want to say stand up for what you want, that's not quite it, but it's kind of to further advocate for what it is that you want. I feel like you guys are very comfortable being part of the group, but I almost feel like this might go too far at times. You might kind of be, have moments where you're like, am I too detached? Like, is this supposed to be like how I relate to people? And I do feel like for the most part, you guys are on point, but those moments, especially if you've had these thoughts lately where you're like, am I going too far with it? Do I spend too much time alone? Am I, is it too easy for me to get up and leave everything behind? It's kind of like this energy that if you're asking yourself questions like that, generally that's for a reason, right? And what I'm almost picking up is that it's not at a level where it's a problem yet, but this is why your team is coming in now, because I feel like a lot of you guys, this is our very long-standing patterns. When I was shuffling for your cards, a bunch of cards about like, childhood wounding or like subconscious programming, parenting and reparenting yourself came up. So one of those kind of shadowy elements, and I'm not a mental or, a licensed mental or physical health professional, so nothing we're talking about should be considered substitution for professional diagnosis, treatment, or advice. But one of those things that to me, the Aquarius Leo axis can kind of talk about in a more grounded, practical sense are attachment issues. Aquarian energy being kind of more toward the avoidant end of the attachment spectrum, Leo energy being a little more toward the attached end of the attachment spectrum. Or anxious, there we go. Anxious end of the attachment spectrum. I was close. And so, that's like totally anecdotal, but that is kind of something that I have noticed. So for some of you, you might kind of identify with either being an avoidant or an anxious avoidant attachment style. And so you're kind of learning to integrate healthy connection and reliance with other people, and also like healthy connection and it's like healthy interdependence wherever you fall on the spectrum. So if you do tend to be maybe a little bit more avoidant, a little bit more, detached in those situations, healthy interdependence for you might look like learning to ask other people for help, right? Learning to connect more deeply with other people. And similarly, vice versa, if somebody were to kind of have like, South Node in Leo, heavy Leo energy, this is this kind of, this might be where they do tend to get a little bit too attached to, an individual in a specific situation and struggling to kind of, you know, like in struggling to stand in their power, right? There's a huge emphasis here, especially with any major Leo placements, about needing to stand in your power. And I do kind of see that. But for this group, especially, the way I feel like this manifests, that I was kind of picking up on, is that I feel like you guys are so used to kind of that Aquarian energy part of the group that you guys kind of might let go of, detach from, or forfeit something that you actually care about relatively quickly, because there's this energy. And I feel like the way that you guys kind of justify this to yourselves is it's for the good of the collective, right? This could be where, like, one of the examples they were giving me when I was shuffling out the cards is like, so for example, if you have a friend group that you're actively, you know, you're an active participant in, this would be that kind of energy of like, if you started to develop feelings for somebody who's a friend, I feel like this is the type of group who would be like, you know what, it's better if we just leave it as friends, right? It's better if, like, oh, you know, friendships are more solid. Friendships are going to last longer. I don't want to ruin the dynamic, instead of really like exploring those feelings. Sorry, I'm sniffly. Really exploring those feelings and being able to own those feelings, right? Being able to claim those feelings as your own, whether or not the other person reciprocates it, whether or not it changes the dynamics. There's something here where I feel like you guys might be prone to not admitting how much you want something or how much you desire something, because it's kind of this energy of like, there is greater universal truth to be had here, right? So again, like, you know, it's like, I don't want to throw off the dynamic of the group. I don't want to compromise the, you know, the goal, the outcome, the shared vision. And that's, you know, that's a noble goal, but to the point where I feel like you guys might struggle to, like, you know, if Leo's very good at saying what they love, at like, you know, giving adoration toward what they love, and that, you know, your North Node is there, I feel like you guys might be being encouraged to stand up more and say, I want that. I love that. I want this to be a part of my life. I want to cultivate that. And some of you, like, I feel like you've had really huge attachment wounds where it's kind of this energy of, I never get what I want. So at least if I don't say it out loud, like, I don't have to deal with the fact that I'm not going to get what I want. Or there's like a fear of, it's like a deep-seated fear of rejection or possibly abandonment of like, if I don't put it out there, then if I don't acknowledge it, like I have, for me personally, I have like a weird thing or like kind of a rule where I'm like, if I say it out loud, that makes it real, and then I have to deal with it. So sometimes like I'll have a feeling about something, but I won't like say it out loud until I'm ready to really sit down and like, you know, parse it out. And it kind of has that energy of like, if I don't say this, if I don't lay claim to my feelings, if I don't say how much I want something, how much I love something, then I don't have to deal with it yet. Or like, I you know, I don't have to, it's like this energy of like, I don't have to run the risk of admitting to myself and really getting in touch with those strong feelings of desire, of attachment, of love, of really wanting someone, really wanting something. And it's kind of this energy of like, if I don't say that, then I don't have to really acknowledge it. And then if I don't get it, it's not as big of a deal. So there's something here where I feel like you guys are really like used to deferring your own happiness in the name of a larger vision. And there's something here where your spirit guides are kind of wanting you to acknowledge how you feel about something, because like it needs to be a balance, right? We can't get so attached to something that we don't let the energy flow. But if we're never attaching to anything, we're never really building anything solid. And if we're not acknowledging how we feel about something, we're not going to be able to manifest anyway, right? Being able to tap into the heart space and being able to kind of say, yes, I want this. Like, I love this. I love this person. I love this place. I want this job. Like, being able to tap into our heart's desires is a way of like, this is a way of manifesting, but it's also a way of bringing really beautiful energy to the collective. So that's kind of a brief overview, and I know brief being the operative word here because I talked forever, but of what this placement's all about. So I have oracle cards already set out. This is from the Blood and Honey Major Arcana deck, and this for me I kind of utilize as like an archetype deck. And this is going to represent the energy that you're being encouraged to embrace or embody at this point on your North Node journey to help you move forward a little bit more. We have oracle cards to kind of talk about areas of life or situations this might specifically apply to, and then a spirit guide message, and I will pull further tarot after that. So let's see what you have. Ooh, okay, you have the Chariot. It's really interesting because originally it was upright, and I hadn't seen it yet, but I originally had it like upright, and I was like, no, I want to swap it. So I think it's important. We have Cancer's energy here. Some of you might have significant Cancer placements. Excuse me. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So what I feel like this is talking about right now is there may have been something that didn't work out. And I feel like you guys, again, like you like understand intuitively, inherently that things kind of ebb and flow and shift in universal order. So you try not to hold on to anything, but I'm almost getting this feeling where, you know, especially if it had been upright, it's like, especially too, because then it would have been facing away from the things it's talking about, which we'll look at it in a minute. I feel like you guys might be prone to kind of like skipping over any disappointment, right? Upright, this is success, this is victory. This also usually depicts a black and white sphinx. So for me, the Charioteer is so successful and victorious because they have mastered their light and shadow energy, right? They work with their energy, all sides of them instead of against their energy. And that's why they're able to be so successful. But feels like there's something here where, I'm just taking a sip of my coffee, because yes, I have both seltzer and coffee. Oh, amazing. Okay. I feel like what you're being encouraged right now to embrace or embody is embrace a sense of failure. And it's not actually failure, but it's something that didn't work out, something that fell through, and we'll look in a minute. That sounded much more crotchety than I meant. I'm like, yeah, I'll look in a minute. That's not how I meant it. But yeah, there's something where you guys there's like a sense of failure. There's a sense of something not working out. The Chariot usually as well, when it's upright, can be about a lot of like fast forward movement and travel. So there might be something where, you know, I was picking up on that nomad lifestyle. There might be something where you've been wanting to travel, you've been wanting to kind of hit the road, you've been wanting to move, and there have been delays, and you're being asked to try to embrace this blockage or this delay. There's a little bit of cat fur, sorry. I try to lint roll this thing, but let's see what your other oracle cards are first, because I want to look at them before I keep speaking. Ooh, okay, creativity. You know what? I don't usually like to read oracle cards reversed, but I'm being called to keep that one reversed. So this is card 3 in case that's important for you. We have introspection. Yep, 15, that reduces to a 6. And then I'm actually going to keep this one as it is too. Wow, shocking. I don't know what that was. Wow, shocking. This is the water element with intuition, card 8, and aquamarine. So some of you might have a March birthday, or March might be an important time because aquamarine is the birthstone for March. You could have significant Pisces or even Aries placements as well. Yeah, there's something here where I want to pull a card for what you're trying to create, what you're trying to move toward. Okay, I was going to take this one. 5 of Cups, but then these two were here, and then I'm not surprised. 5 of Cups, 4 of Swords, and the Devil. I'm not surprised. And then the 2 of Pentacles wanted to make itself known, so I'm going to keep it for a minute. And the Queen of Pentacles is at the bottom. It's interesting too, because with introspection, so this is card 15. This always makes me think of the Devil, and then poof, came out. There's something here in terms of what you're trying to create. It's going to be different for all of you because there's no specific reference here, but there's something that you're trying to create for yourself, and I feel like you're hitting a blockage with it, and you're being encouraged to embrace this blockage or this kind of delay. The reason why is because I feel like you're trapped right now. You're caught halfway between your healing and your hindrance, essentially, right? The wounding and your healing. And this is why you're not able to move forward in the direction that you want. With the water element showing up, you know, we do have intuition, and I felt called to leave it reversed. There's something where I feel like you're ignoring an element of your intuition. It's requiring with introspection that you go within and really explore this a little bit more deeply. Working with fluorite or aquamarine, but particularly fluorite, might be helpful for you at this time. It's also just dope as hell. It's really cool looking. I highly recommend it. But with the water element as well, this can really, to me, also reference your emotions really, really heavily. There are emotions that I feel like are unprocessed. There are things that might be kind of inner child healing, or sort of like, again, attachment wounds. These have been there for a while. And with the Queen of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, first of all, we have Earth energy, Taurus, Virgo, Cap. That might apply to you. But with the Queen of Pentacles at the bottom, this comes from this sort of thing where I feel like you're trying to be a nurturer, you're trying to be loving, you're trying to be stable, to be grounding. I feel like you're trying to help be the change that you want to see, right? So if you like believe in like authentic soul tribe, community, communal living, and it's very much based off of love and care for one another. You don't have to earn that, right? It's universal. You deserve love, you deserve care, you deserve support just because you are a divine being, right? This feels like the energy that you're trying to bring to the table, but to the level where, once again, you might be prone to defer what you want. And that also can include being too disconnected from your own emotions about something. So this can kind of include like trying to not let something bother you. And again, we're all like, with the Two of Pentacles, this is really reminding me, and I talk about this a lot with personal readings, but we are all this mixture. While we're here and we're embodied, we're all a mixture of the human and the divine within us. And it's the tension from those two sides of ourselves, because they're equally real. It's the tension between those two sides of ourselves that often create a rich area for growth, right? Negotiating between these two parts of ourselves. And this is kind of what I'm feeling for you guys. Is there something where it's like you're very comfortable in this kind of divine universal love energy, but to the point where it might make it very, very hard for you to live a grounded life like in the 3D, because there's an element to which I feel like you're very tapped into that part of you, but the kind of the human ego part that we sort of need in order to feel grounded and secure in this life is something that you might have trouble tapping into. For some of you, I was just getting this while I was talking. For some of you, you might have like a lot of root chakra work that needs to be done in order to really feel safe and secure. But there's something here where it's like the goal is to, with that Queen of Pentacles, the goal is to help create nurturing, right? Create structure, create a better world, to the point where what they're showing me is like this like big beautiful tree that has like that like produces a lot of fruit, but the roots under the soil are like quickly drying up and decaying, right? And what I'm getting from this is that there's an element to which you're not serving yourself. There's an element to which you're not tapping into, pardon my sniffles, your own needs, your own emotions. You're not nurturing those things within yourself. And as a result, anything you create will crumble. Anything you make will dry up. There's only so far you can go in order, like in the name of helping other people. Sorry, I like slipped and accidentally like jostled the table because I have my elbows on the very edge of the table and it like slipped right off. And this is kind of what I feel like is at the heart of this, is that there's stuff you want to create, there's a direction you want to go in, and you're being encouraged to stop and really go within, because there are unexpressed emotions. There are, unrecognized emotions that need to be worked through. Excuse my burp. And a lot of these, as you're trying to kind of like navigate between these two sides of yourself, again, the spiritual and the very human parts of us, right? The soul and the ego, the human and the divine. There's a part of you that needs to be worked through. And what this has to do with is that this is a lot of grief, right? With the Five of Cups, this is something that you have lost, and this is something that This feels like something with all the dandelions where this has been like overgrown in your life. And what I mean by that is like, you know, this has this energy of like the weeds have overgrown something. Excuse me. And this person's like walking away and kind of looking over their shoulder. And this is the energy I'm feeling, is like this energy of, like, look, he's got the one sword. Usually this depicts somebody laying down. There's 3 swords over their head, and then there's one under their, you know, like on the side of the slab they're laying on. But not in this one. He's got the one sword, and then he's got the 3 hanging out over here, and he's walking away from them, right? There's an energy where I feel like you're trying to find the truth. You're trying to find the breakthrough, the new beginning, the fresh start, right? The victory. But in doing so, there's an element to which your strategy or your approach is accidentally like ignoring or cutting off something that was very painful for you that needs to be addressed. So I feel like you're not like actively trying to avoid doing the work, but there's something here where like you might be glossing over it, where it's just kind of like, oh, you know, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, oh, it sucked, but you know, what are you gonna do? You know, or like this almost has this energy. This is a weird example. This almost has the energy of like, let's say, you know, you have a friend group and you're really, really close with them, but you start to like develop closer feelings with one person, and then like another person in your group also wants to be with that person, right? So it's like you, person A, person B, you start to develop feelings for person A, and then person B also develops feelings for them. And maybe in every other situation, you'd have no problem kind of taking your hands off the wheel and being like, okay, you know what, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to rock the boat. But there's something where it's like this person, or maybe it's like a job that you're both kind of like competing for. Or there's something where it's like, again, it's like rocking the boat. Maybe this is something where in order to pursue what you want, you have to kind of like potentially like let down other people in the collective. And I feel like you're very used to just being like, okay, you know, hands off the wheel. I'm gonna let, I feel like generally you have no problem letting people kind of go for it or do what they need to do. But there's something about this person, this job, this situation, or just like there's something about this that it's like, I don't want to have to give this up, but I also don't want to, I don't want to hurt somebody else. I don't want to, again, it's like that level of like, I don't want to rock the boat here. I want everything to be in unanimity, in harmony. And this also could very well be where it's not really attached to this specific situation. It just happens to be like the last straw. But that is kind of what I'm seeing. I feel like you guys are sort of working through this. So the reason why you're being encouraged to like, just like stop, you know, let things kind of come to the surface, not move forward yet, is because there's feelings here that need to be addressed. I want to know a little bit more with the Chariot reverse, like how your guides want you to do that, because this can mean several things. So I'm going to be able to give you guys some more information. They want me to keep both. Okay. Wow, yeah, the tower is at the bottom. I feel like you guys are afraid of a tower moment happening. And there's something where I feel like this is like, again, like, you know, they've got the reins. It's like, drop the reins, let go of the wheel, let things turn the way they need to, because I feel like generally you're okay with that. But in this situation, there's like the thing that is your guiding light forward is this like universal love energy, right? Maybe you're very like all about soul tribe, or you connect very heavily with your soul tribe. It's like everything else can change, but this one thing can't, right? Or something like, let me just get more information. Okay, yeah, 4 of Cups, absolutely. Queen of Pentacles, okay. The 9 of Cups reversed, this is so on point. And the King of Cups, okay, yep. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. We also have a little bit of a Ram here, so we could have some Aries going on. Yes, 110%. This is something where you try to be this Queen of Pentacles, right? You try to be somebody who's abundant, who is consistent, who is stable. You try to be this person for other people. And I feel like the reason why this has gotten difficult, and this could also be where if you're in like direct competition with somebody, maybe one of you is an earth sign, the other is a water sign, potentially. But the thing that's missing here with the Nine of Cups reversed is that there is a wish here. There's something that you want, and I feel like it's not being expressed, right? I have to say, we have the infinity symbol forged here, but it's with an eel, and these are usually kind of highly associated with deception. There's something that you want. It's true to your heart and soul. You really want this thing. But there's something or someone that's making you feel like you shouldn't want it or you shouldn't go after it. And this is what we see with the Four of Cups. Usually, the dude is looking at the Three Cups and the fourth one is being offered, but here he's holding on to it and it's full, right? There's something here where I feel like you have a desire, you have something you want. With the Three of Cups, this represents soul family. This can represent reunion, reconciliation, friends, celebration. There's something here where it's like you're having to choose between being the person that you want to be, being the change you want to see in the world, and having your desires, right? I'm hearing your needs be met, your emotional needs, like this has this energy of like, I rarely ask for anything. I so rarely, throw my hat into the ring for anything, but this is important to me. And there's something about those feelings you're being encouraged to tap into, right? To not just like, move on, move forward and let this go. Because whether or not you go for this situation or not, there is valuable wisdom to be extracted from digging deep within here. So there's something where this might keep boomeranging back into your life until you deal with it. You might not be able to escape your feelings about this until you kind of deal with it. But this is kind of what this is all about, is you're being encouraged to really look at what it is you deeply want and why, and then also why you might feel like, why you might feel blocked from seeking this thing or from going after this thing. Because like, again, whether or not you go after this, whether or not you want this, whether or not, however this ends up panning out, there is valuable wisdom in the process that needs to be honored, extracted, upheld, right? Needs to be explored. That's a better word. So I am definitely seeing that here. I want to see what your spirit message is, though. We have, strength. Exactly. That's Leo energy in the tarot. That's so funny. Strength comes from many sources. Staying strong brings confidence, conviction, and a balanced body, mind, and soul. Spirit has its own unique and beautiful way of replenishing your soul with strength on a continual basis. You're never really alone, as we are always with you. Yeah, and I feel like you guys are being asked to tap into a different kind of strength than you're used to, in a very, very different way. And this has everything to do with the strength of your emotions, really attaching to it and saying like, I feel this, because right, he's got the hand over the heart space, like, I feel this. This is real to me. This is true to me. We have a pillar in the background here. So whatever this is something that either comes from a place that is quintessential to your soul's journey, or that's going to be that's going to form like a very solid structure in your life, right? So overcoming this challenge is going to be the setup for something that is very strong, very supportive, right? That's very steady and sturdy for you for the rest of your life journey as you make your way through this. So I want to get more information here. Okay. Sure, I'm actually going to keep this because it's jumping out. Yeah, I see that. Let's start with this. At the bottom is that tower moment, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so there's something here where we have Justice, we have the Two of Swords, we have the Page of Wands reversed, and the Ten of Wands. Yep. Okay. So what I feel like you're trying to decide is, first of all, it's interesting that usually the Two of Swords and the Eight of Swords are the only blindfolded cards in the tarot, but in this deck, we have the Justice card that's also blindfolded. There's something where it's like, you're trying to, like, there might be a missing piece of information. I'm not feeling that as much here. I feel like you're trying to be incredibly fair. You're trying to look with your third eye, not with kind of like your physical eyes, meaning trying to see the situation from a higher spiritual perspective. Because I feel like with the Two of Swords, you don't really know which way to go forward. You're kind of caught between, I feel like there's something where it's like, I deserve this. Maybe like, I deserve this, or this feels fair to me, but there's like a recognition of, I don't want to, again, with the balance here, it's like, I don't want to create, you know, an imbalance with a capital I, right? Like an imbalance at a spiritual level. So there's something where it's like, okay, I feel like I deserve this. I feel like this is fair for me. But in the grand scheme of things, is this going to yield the best result? Because you're thinking about the collective instead of thinking about your own personal journey here. And so it's kind of caught between like, do I go after this thing that I feel is fair to me, that I really want, that is, you know, with the sort of truth that's true to me? Excuse me. And especially where she's got two swords and she's trying to pick, it's like, do I pick this path and, you know, do something that I want, versus with the Page of Wands reverse, do I let it go, right? Do I just kind of like let this situation go? Because this is about starting a journey. This can also be about travel and moving as well. As my little adventurer card. So this could very much revolve around moving, or again, travel. Sorry, there's like cat fur and stuff. I do my best. And the reason why you're being put, it might feel like you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. And the reason why with the 10 of Wands is because you're carrying too much by carrying the expectations of others. You're carrying too much by carrying, like being the sense of responsibility for other people's feelings. And it's important to be empathetic, to be mindful of how you make other people feel, right? When we care about people, we care about how we make them feel. But there is this need to negotiate between feeling overly responsible for other people's feelings and, you know, not being able to connect or not being able to empathize enough. And so there's this really interesting energy here where, while this is South Node Aquarius, North Node Leo, I feel like you guys really do care a lot. But there's like a detachment from the self. It's a really interesting energy. That's why I'm having trouble putting it into words, right? So it's like, it's not that you don't care. It's not that you're detached in the grand scheme of things, but it's kind of like, I feel like you guys are just very much in alignment with like universal order and planning and timing. And so like, you might always be kind of negotiating between, you know, what you want and what you know you need to do, or what is right? You might always be kind of like doing things for the collective, for the greater good, and like I said, at the expense of your own happiness. And now you're being encouraged to really think about, what do you want to create? And there's a huge emphasis on tapping into those emotions, tapping in on what you feel drawn to, right? Because I feel like when it comes to your intuition, I feel like you'll follow your intuition with serving the collective without even questioning it, without a doubt. But when it comes to following your intuition for something you want, especially if that's something that somebody in your friend group, your soul tribe, you know, your inner circle might get ruffled by, I feel like that's where this falls apart, and you like ignore your intuition and suppress your emotions a little bit. And that's what you're being encouraged to look at this time. So I want to pull you guys a couple of cards of advice. Look at that introspection reverse. This is the Hermit. Okay, so Virgo energy showing up. That's bonkers. Okay. Whilst. Watch, it's gonna be like the Hangman or some shit shows up. Okay, yeah, we have the Seven of Swords reverse. I wanted to look at it but not take it. And the Seven of Wands reversed to the bottom. Again, there's something about going after what you want, and I feel like you guys are like really quick to be like, nope, I don't need this. And with the Seven of Swords reversed, your guides are like, hey, you got to be honest with yourself about this. There's something about getting very, very real with yourself that's important to this process. Because especially with creativity in reverse, this has almost Empress energy to me. You're not going to be able to manifest anything without clear intentions. And this is also manifesting something is going to ask that you remove the blockages toward having what you want. So that's something that's part of the manifestation process. There's the deconstruction of everything in the way, and then the reconstruction toward your goals. Excuse me. So you might be in a deconstruction phase right now. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So we have the Hermit reversed for advice. Yeah, exactly. The Three of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, and the Empress reversed. No kidding. Okay. Yeah, I feel like Taurus and Libra here, I think I said Virgo here. You are being asked to take some time to go within. For some of you, you're being asked to, again, there's a balance point, right, that needs to happen. And this balance point is between, you know, finding a solid balance between nurturing yourself and like tending to your own needs, and then also tending, like being an equal active participant in the spiritual partnerships that you're a part of, right? Because the Three of Pentacles is like spiritual partnerships. You're building something together. There is like spirit brought you together to make something, to create something, and this is a beautiful thing. But you guys are being asked to kind of go within and really explore the balance that you have between these two parts of your life, because I feel like this is very important to you, but you might be doing this at the expense of yourself. Again, she's a master manifester. You know, she's abundant. She has a really healthy sense of self-worth, of boundaries. So there's this balance between tending to yourself, nurturing yourself, and creating what you want in this lifetime versus the work that you do with others, what you create with others and for others. And this is what you guys are really being asked to contemplate and meditate on right now, especially with introspection coming up twice. So perhaps doing some journaling around this, you know, doing some meditation, some grounding meditations might be helpful. Also, heart and sacral chakra energy, healing and meditations, there we go, might really be helping you at this time. Working with aquamarine and fluorite might be helpful. So I think this is just about everything I have for you guys today. I hope this has been helpful. It's an honor and a joy to get to read for you, and I hope I get to again in the future. Take care, love bugs. Bye.